Welcome back, everybody. I am the Jimmer, and this is going to be my overview video for the Honky Tonk. Some other people were showing off how they put their tanks together, and so I figured I would do the same. Unfortunately, lost today to Joey's tank with the really big rapid-fire gun, but won its first battle, so not a total loss. And I'm still pretty proud of it. I think it's a really good tank, just not quite able to stand up to that level of firepower. So just overall, kind of go quickly through how I put it together and all that kind of stuff. Rather small tank. See, length 31 with 15, height 7, so not all that large. Kind of tall. And that is on purpose. Is entirely wheel powered. You can see the tracks down here, and as you can see, fairly fast, going about 40 meters a second. If I go in a straight line, let's see. I think I have to have an enemy spawned in for it to go in a straight line, but I think it gets up to about 50 meters a second in a straight line. And other than that, got the rubber blocks around the outside to keep it from bumping into its enemies, and then the single fairly large turret. And let's go ahead and go into build mode, and I'll give you the exploded view. So at the front we have 2 layers of metal and then 2 layers of heavy armor, so really thick frontal armor. And then we have the engine component, or compartment, is right here, and then right behind that we have the AI encased in a second layer of stone armor. Although you can see there was a few places where I had to break that armor to fit components in. And then all of the empty spaces in here are filled with either wood or stone. See the AI. And I used a whole bunch of automatic control blocks to do all of the movement using, I think I ended up using an aerial AI. Yeah, aerial AI for the movement. And here, I guess I can pop that up in case anybody wants to see. This is the settings I was using. So it's set to, these settings make it always go towards the enemy. These are basically ignored, and then this is the 60 degrees. So the idea is that it will sort of do a broadside around the opponent, but while moving towards them. So it'll get to kind of slide around the opponent. And with this setting, it against a stationary opponent, it spins around them right at about maybe 150 meters away, 150 meters away. So gives a fairly tight circle, can outturn some slower turrets. And then just moving directly back, we have the turret well. That is another level or layer of heavy armor to hopefully catch any fragments that come through off the frontal armor, and that extends all the way around. Just a single layer of heavy armor on the along the outside, but with a layer of metal on top of that. And then at the back we have the ammunition stores. See a bunch of ammo processors, and then the actual ammo barrels scattered around here. Ammo barrels are encased in armor and kind of put at the corners of the tank, so if they do go up, they don't take out a huge area. They just kind of blow out the back of the tank. And then a little bit weaker armor back here. You have the metal, and then the heavy armor, and then just a layer of metal beams here at the back. And that is the body of the tank. Oh, I guess we can take a peek. These are the shells. I have 2 ammo customizers. So we have one shell that is the this one is heat. And you can see heat penetration 112 and 93 particles, so a pretty heavy duty heat shell. And then the other one is Hesh. You can see 4,000 thump damage and the spalling metric of 160. And I left a little bit of HE on there as well, just for fun. Do a little bit of surface damage, maybe strip off some detection components potentially. With a 15-meter radius, it should do decently for those purposes. But most of it gets dumped into the Hesh. And then let's take a look at the turret itself. You can see the turret just fits in the turret well. It's like almost as circular as you can get using blocks, I suppose. And then I did go with the 3-axis turret. Could have potentially gone with not the 3-axis, 3-meter 1-axis turret. I could have potentially gone with a 5-meter, but it was going fast enough as it was, so I just saved a little bit of materials on that and left it as a 3-meter. And then the autoloaders were I believe they're 3-meter. Oh no, 4-meter. I ended up, yeah, that's right. I ended up with the 4-meter autoloaders with clips. And I just learned today that apparently if you use the solid clips, I just left these as the regular ones because there's only a few of them, so it's not really gonna be a problem with lag. But apparently the solid clips are bugged right now and are immune to heat, so I really should have used those. And in all honesty, I probably should have just filled this thing with auto loaders and got a little bit better fire rate. This was designed before the 2.01, where it was before that autoloaders started empty. Now they start loaded, so you can get your shots off a lot faster. But still not a bad gun, and it really almost never pops. It obviously popped in the battle against Joey's tank, but with those kind of rounds coming at you, I don't think there's any armor in the world that can really stand up to that sort of barrage. And all around the outside of the turret is it's heavy armor in the front, a layer of heavy armor, the front and the sides, and then in the back it is metal beams. Considering this is pretty much always going to be facing towards the enemy, can cut down a little bit on weight and cost by just having the HA around the outside. But that also catches any Hesh fragments that are generated in the turret well, should get caught by this armor on the turret. And then the top of the turret is also encased in heavy armor all the way around. Not quite as heavy in the back and a little bit heavier in the front here where I'm expecting to take shots. And then around that heavy armor is a layer of metal. And then I have a collar out here that extends a little ways out, and this is to hopefully, if any big HE rounds come and hit the face here, it should reduce them wrapping around this and going down and taking out the turret block. The detection up here on the top, this is separated from the rest of the turret. There is oh, I guess I didn't totally separate it. It could potentially core through here, I guess. I didn't catch that. But mostly there's a layer of metal here in between the top of the turret to prevent HE from burrowing down in there. But as you saw, I did have that one accidentally deleted a block, but I don't think it came into play anyway. Not a whole lot of big HE rounds in the tournament. And yeah, I think that basically covers it. Just to give you guys, this was a lot. I did so many iterations of this thing. Let's go to my tank folder. Let's see, yeah, I was working on this for a long time. Got the Honky Tonk that made it in. This is the hover I was working on. But I just couldn't get it to work. Eventually we figured out that it was the terrain's not exactly flat, so there's places where you can go and even if you're like right above the ground like this thing is, you'll still be above the altitude restriction, because there's like little hills that are hard to like see, but they do exist. And overall, the Honky Tonk ended up beating this thing pretty much every time I fought them against each other, so it was overall more effective. But I did like this one just because it was, you know, it's a hover and it looks pretty cool flying around. I have another video showing it battling somebody else's tank too. Yeah, like you can see, just so many hovers. Really wanted to get this one to work, and it was really difficult. Eventually, I mean, you can see that one, the latest version did fly pretty well, but some of these older ones were not so smooth. And then Dank Tank, I think this one ended up going into the Gobi Offensive tournament. You can just see sort of an earlier iteration. I guess from the outside it looks pretty much identical except for the paint, but it's totally different on the inside. What else have we got? Yeah, Menti Concepts. Oh yeah, this was before you had to use turrets. This thing is actually really nasty. Just one giant gun in here. Probably should have stuck with that idea. It seems to be the way of the tournament. But yeah, that's the Dank Tank. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give me that thumbs up, and we'll see you next time.